Frank or Z? Frank or Z?
Frank or Z. It's either that or Richard Z.
All right, so is everything good to go already?
Yeah, you're live.
All right. So I can see the countdown right now?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Hey guys. So this category is Ocarina of Time 100% no source requirement. So this is a pretty new category. A lot of people probably haven't heard of it. So what this category is so Ocarina of Time is kind of unique because it now has 2 different 100% categories, 2 different ways to define what counts as 100%. So in normal 100%, you are required to get every item from its source, and what that means is that, for example, you have to get all individual gold skulltulas and all individual heart pieces and get every item from their original location. And so while it doesn't necessarily ban glitches that let you say like get 100 gold skulltulas from like 1 gold skulltula, or duping heart pieces, or glitching items into your inventory, it doesn't necessarily ban that, but it won't count towards your completion percent in normal 100%. In 100% no source requirement, this category, that's all fair game. So in this category, I just have to end the run with 100 gold skulltulas, 20 hearts, all my items and upgrades, and how I get all that stuff is completely irrelevant. And that leads to a very, very glitchy speedrun. So, yeah, this is basically like the glitchiest Ocarina of Time speedrun there is. I do lots of really weird stuff to get items in fast ways. And so this run is done on the GameCube version, which is very uncommon for most Ocarina of Time speedruns. GameCube is generally considered the worst version, but for this category in particular, there's one glitch where I will be trying to load a lot of stuff at once, and on most other versions, the game kind of gives up a lot earlier. The GameCube version is just able to load more stuff than other versions, and so that's a pretty massive important thing in this category, which is why the GameCube version is the fastest. The reason GameCube is generally considered the worst category is because it has very slow resets. I also have to apologize, I have a bit of a cough. Hopefully it doesn't make the commentary too annoying. But, so yeah, the resets on GameCube are very slow, easily the slowest of any version by quite a bit. And resets are very good in this game because if you save and reset the game, you'll always appear at either the beginning of a dungeon if you save inside a dungeon, or at Link's house if you're saved to the overworld as child, or Temple of Time if you're saved in the overworld as adult. So it's you can use it for very fast travel in a lot of places, but GameCube has to cut down on it a bit because of how slow it is. So anyway, the run is starting here. I'm also using the Japanese version because the text is faster. All the glitches work exactly the same in the Japanese and English version. Everything I do in this run you can do on your very own game. Well, almost everything. There's like going to be very small, minor differences depending on what version you're playing on. So the movement in this game, there's 3 general ways of moving: backwalking, rolling, and side hopping. Backwalking is generally the fastest over relatively long distances. General rule of thumb is if you can get there in 4 rolls or less, then you want to roll. More than that, you generally want to backflip. Also, for places where you have to turn a lot, rolling is good. And side hopping is good. Side hopping is technically faster than backwalking, but only if you do it perfectly. So generally, backwalking is done if you want to move to the side immediately, or if you're backwalking, you want to start moving to the side. So the beginning of this run is pretty standard. 40 rupees, get the sword, get the shield.
All right, so we've got a couple donations. There's $10 from I Hope Aliens Believe in Me. It says, I won't be able to see CFG's run live, but here's $10 so I can watch it and hopefully the glitch exhibition on VOD later. good luck, ZFG, and happy birthday. We also have $25 for Moro, who says, good luck with the run, ZFG, and good job taking that stock off of S2J. However,
Thanks.
you do need to get better at rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, you should have seen my offline, or my not-streamed matches, all right? My first match, I reversed 3-0'd the guy, and then my match after that, I 3-0'd that guy. All right, so should have seen me earlier.
No Johns.
All right, so first thing we're going to do is go to the Deku Tree. A lot of OOT speedruns don't go to the Deku Tree first. This is one of the few that does. It's surprisingly standard for how crazy the category gets immediately afterwards. So right there, before the cutscene started, I did a jump slash. So when you enter this cutscene normally, the game tries to move Link to a specific spot. But by jump slashing before the cutscene starts, it delays Link's movement towards that spot. And so to compensate, the game tries to make Link move faster, but then it ends up moving Link too fast, and he goes past where he's normally supposed to be. So I get a little bit closer to the Deku Tree than I'm supposed to. Saves a little bit of time. So all I really want to do in Deku Tree right now is just to grab the slingshot, and then I'll be heading out of here. So you can skip that Navitex by taking out an item right before you trigger the Navitex, and then grab the vines before the Navitex triggers. Pulling out an item delays the Navitex by a short amount of time. I just missed it there. There's also another Navitex I can skip here in front of the door. So there's a Navitex trigger right in front of the door, and I side hopped over it and pressed A to open the door as soon as I landed, and that lets you open the door right before Navi talks to you. Since I already know how to open doors, I don't need Navi to tell me.
So we have a $5 donation from Moonswing27. He says, ZFG, can you do an entire all cows run within the Glitch exhibition board?
No.
Also,
all
thank
cows
you.
is the worst category.
Also, thank you, STR, for the awesome marathon. So happy to be donating to St. Jude for this. Thank you for the $5. And then Princess Viviana donates $5 and says, happy birthday, ZFG. So glad to see you're spending your birthday raising money for charity. How nice of you. I'm a regular in your chat and enjoy your streams greatly. I love you, ZFG. Good luck with this run. Franker Z.
Thanks. So I just need the slingshot right now. It's going to be useful for, or required for, the first boss that I fight, which is not the usual first boss. So now I want to leave Kikiri Forest. To get to the exit of Kikiri Forest fast, I'm going to do a glitch called the Water Extended Super Slide. I'll explain this a bit later because I have another trick coming up right here called Forest Escape. So to leave the forest early, you can clip into this guy by crouch stabbing the wall and talking to him at the same time. And then you clip into the guy, and then you can just roll under him and leave Kikiri Forest early without being the Deku Tree. So there's multiple different ways to escape the forest. Some of you might be familiar with ways going out through Lost Woods. The reason I want to use this forest escape is for this ocarina. So while I technically could skip this ocarina, and it would be faster in the short term, like at the very beginning of the run it'd be faster, as the run goes on, I would start to lose a lot of time because there's a glitch I'll be doing later called Ocarina Items, where I can use a bottle and some other item to substitute as an ocarina. But it takes like roughly 10 seconds to do every time. So I'd be losing 10 seconds every single time I use the ocarina. And that adds up just so quickly. So the first thing I want to do now is go to Kakariko to get a bottle. Bottle is one of the most broken items in the game, if not the most broken item. You always want to get it as soon as possible, because it leads to countless amounts of glitches. Just a bad angle. So coming up here, I'm going to do the water extended super slide thing I did in Kissimmee Forest earlier. Again. Oh my god. Alright, well, the way the glitch is supposed to work is when you have a lot of speed going into the water will preserve your speed. And then if you hold very slightly outside the dead zone of the control stick, it does what we call ESS position, which is where Link kind of slightly shuffles his feet. And if you do it on normal ground, Link won't move. But if you do that with speed, it'll preserve your speed. And so it lets you travel very fast out of water. And when I get explosive later on, bombs and bomb shoes, I can also use it with those to get an even faster speed and use it anywhere without water. So here I gotta collect all the cuckoos to get the bottle.
So we have a $10 donation from the Legend of Zelda. Says, happy birthday, ZFG. Good luck with the run. Don't mess up counting the Skulltulas. You're my favorite streamer, and I'm hyped for you to crush this run. For the kids. Love you, pal.
Thanks. So the cuckoos are done in order where the movement you do after throwing them tries to make them move in the direction you want towards the pen. So the cuckoos will always move in the direction where they can get farthest away from you. And so the movement always just tries to make them run either towards the pen or in a good position to go towards the pen. And they can also slash them like that to help them run towards the pen faster. So now after getting the bottle, I'm going to go to the bottom of the well. You're normally not supposed to get there until much later in the game, but you can do a trick called a Navi dive, where you jump slash the edge and talk to Navi, and you just fall through the water. So when you jump slash, Link has kind of pullback where once he does the jump slash, he'll move backwards a bit. If you talk to Navi while that happens, if you pull back and fall off the ledge, you'll just fall through water. So right there, I just got a glitch called the Infinite Sword glitch. You kind of might have saw that my sword kind of glowed white for a little bit. This means my sword is now swinging infinitely. You just do a crouch stab and have it interrupted by something. In that case, it was interrupted by getting the Deku Stick. And with the Infinite Sword glitch, it prevents you from falling. And you can use that property of not being able to fall to hover in the air whenever you shield damage in the air, which I'm going to do right here. And so I was hovering in the air there, and then I did an Ocarina dive, which was, I tried to play the Ocarina right on the edge of where the ground meets the void, or the hole. And so you're able to play the Ocarina, but you kind of miss the ground and fall through. And when you're playing the Ocarina, load zones don't work properly. So there's actually supposed to be a load trigger that loads the basement that I completely bypassed. And from the basement, I was able to flip up with invisible water to this area and I got bomb juice early. And with explosives, when you grab a vine, very early on in the vine grab, if you get hit, you'll get clipped through the vines, which is what I did. Which is what I did right there, and allowed me to swim through the invisible water. And so, about the invisible water, so you might notice that there's shallow water surrounding the entire bottom of the well area. That shallow water actually extends downwards infinitely. And so you can actually just swim through it. And so that was the Dead Hand fight. So the reason I was waiting to attack Dead Hand there is he's only vulnerable right before he goes back underground. So I have to wait for a very specific time before he goes back underground to attack him. And this gives me the Lens of Truth. I also got an invisible 200 rupee chest in the back. You're only supposed to see that with the Lens of Truth. It's supposed to be like the first thing you see with the Lens of Truth. And that'll be helpful for later. So now I need to leave bottom of the well. So I'm going to do 2 save warps to get out. This is... I mentioned earlier that save warps on the GameCube version are very slow. This is why they're very slow. You have to go all the way back to the menu. This is the Master Quest disc, by the way. The other option is Master Quest. You have to load the game through here. So this is why the GameCube version is generally not preferred, except for this specific category. And so saving here is going to put me back in Kissimmee Forest. So I can go head off to the first dungeon. Well, the first dungeon I complete, at least.
All right, so we've got $10 from Corey658. Says, great to see you, ZFG. Good luck. I want to see that glitch exhibition. I want to see it too.
Me too.
$30 from Heavy Metal Mage. Says, ZFG is the great speedrunner of all time. Of all time. And Ben Stevens 56 donates $5 and says, ZFG, I love you. And Anonymous just donated $10 and says, happy birthday, ZFG. Can't wait for the counting with ZFG part of the run.
Ooh, that's my favorite part, too. I think you guys, all of Twitch chat, will enjoy that part of the run very much. So I just got bugs there. Catching stuff in the bottle is what makes bottles so incredibly broken. You'll be seeing part of what makes it so broken in a few minutes here. So I want to take some damage from these Deku Scrubs in Sacred Forest Meadow. I will want to die a little bit later. Intentional deaths are a pretty big part of Ocarina of Time speedrunning. I'm not that bad, I swear. So the first dungeon that I actually want to go to and complete is the Forest Temple. Not quite the usual first dungeon. So I got the Infinite Sword glitch. I'm going to do something similar to what I did in Bottom of the Well, where I hovered in the air. I'm going to do that all the way to Forest Temple here, using Bomb Tubes as my source of damage.
Yeah, ZFG needs to curve these backflips because the explosion expands. So if he just does a regular backflip, the explosion won't meet the shield, and he won't be able to shield the damage and hover because of it.
Alright, so we're in Forest Temple.
Nice.
So all that pausing I was doing was because those hovers are very precise. Both the backflip itself and shield dropping the bomb chew part are both frame perfect, except for one of the hovers, which can be a frame late. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. And so by pausing, I can find very specific frames and make sure I can execute things frame perfectly. It does come at the cost of time, but it's very worth it for difficult tricks that I can't afford to fail.
Yeah, the other aspect of pausing is there's a bit of unpause lag where if you input, like let's say input a chew press, then the chew will come out the first possible frame that the game starts moving again after the unpause lag.
So here in Forest Temple, I can actually get to the boss pretty quickly. Just gonna climb. Oh my god, really? Please don't touch me. I can't get that fairy. Don't. No? Okay. So you can do a vine clip with a bomb chew through the vines, and you fall directly into the boss loading zone. Skip the entire dungeon. So the way boss loading zones work is whenever you are inside a dungeon, the boss loading zone is always there wherever you are in the dungeon. So as long as you can get out of bounds and get to touch the loading zone, you can always jump straight to the boss if you can find a path. Forest Temple is actually one of the easiest places, one of the easiest dungeons to do a boss key skip. There's like several different methods as adult, and then that easy method as child. And so here's the first boss, Phantom Ganon. So this is the reason I got the slingshot earlier. Slingshot is the easiest, or at least fastest weapon I can get that can actually damage Phantom Ganon coming out of the mains. So people always ask, how do you tell the real one from the fake one? The real one is brighter, and is also the only one that makes noise. So here I got the Infinite Sword Glitch, and the Infinite Sword Glitch can also be used for quick damage output. A bit of a sloppy fight. So when you do the Infinite Sword Glitch, the damage from the Infinite Sword Glitch is the same damage as your crouch stab, and your crouch stab is the same damage as the last attack used. So I did a jump slash in the middle of the battle before I got the Infinite Sword Glitch. And so the Infinite Sword Glitch was the power of my Deku Stick jump slash, which, by the way, is the same power as the Master Sword, which is twice as strong as the Kiri Sword. So it's the fastest way to deal damage as Child Link. So I beat the dungeon. I do not want to step immediately into the Blue Warp, because if I go in the Blue Warp and watch the cutscene, the game will crash at the end. I do want to beat the dungeon though, so I'm going to have to do a trick where I skip the cutscene. So this is why I'm catching the bugs here. I'm going to do a glitch called the Ocarina Items, which will allow me to play a fake Ocarina on the edge of the Blue Warp. And this will allow me to gain control while the Blue Warp is starting. And now I want to die on one specific frame. Okay. Alright, should be good. A bit slow, but it worked out. So by dying on by dying on that specific frame, I'm able to skip the cutscene but still get the medallion. And so I now have Forest Temple completed. So beating Forest Temple as a child seems really weird. So the reason for it is a bit complicated. It has some weird route issues. So I want to be able to go back in time very early on when I become adult. It doesn't need to be immediate, but it needs to be early on. And the reason I don't want to beat Forest Temple as adult is I would get the Minuet of Forest song before going into Forest Temple because it's right in front of Forest Temple. And I'm going to be doing a glitch later on that if I were to get the Minuet of Forest earlier on in the run, it would get deleted, which is really bad because I need it for 100%. So I need to avoid that deletion of the Minuet of Forest song. And so beating Forest Temple as child fixes everything. Now, because I failed a trick early on, normally I'd be able to get to Hyrule Castle before it turns night. I might fail it here because of messing that up. Yeah, there's no chance. Okay. So I'm going to have to wait through night.
Alright, so we have a $25 anonymous donation that says, "Let's go ZFG, you my man. Fun times at Smash the Record for the kids." And there's also a $40 donation from Mammal69. Thank you for the $40.
Yeah, that's a good number. I like that number. This is the fastest way to kill Skull Kids. Just have them spawn in the water.
I did not know you could do that.
Yeah, woo. Alright, finally. Normally that shouldn't happen, just because I failed that trick going to Kakariko. Messed up the daytime cycle. Oh well. So now I'm going to the Temple of Time. So normally, you can't really do anything in the Temple of Time until you get all 3 spiritual stones and the Song of Time. And use the Song of Time to open the Door of Time. But you don't care about doors in this game. So there's this crack in the Door of Time between the side of the door and the wall. And you can clip out of bounds and go through the crack and just go right past the door. Okay, here we go. For some reason I've been failing that trick all weekend, and it's really easy. Anyway, so here's the Master Sword very early. Ooh. And so we got we got a long cutscene coming up.
At least it's on Japanese.
Huh?
I said at least it's on Japanese.
Yeah. Ooh, we got the good TV with the... I guess you guys probably can't see on the stream, but this TV has some like weird squiggly things on bright screens.
Shoutouts to Miles.
I shot a video of it during Miles' Metro Prime 2 run.
Yeah, it looks pretty great. Makes white screens enjoyable. Oh, there he goes. Oh, I probably actually want it on higher brightness and contrast. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so since there's not much going on, one thing to notice to why the Japanese version is so much faster is because the way the game displays text is it shows one character per frame, and the Japanese version uses so many less characters, so it ends up being multiple minutes faster. If I'm not mistaken, the intro is 30 seconds faster on Japanese alone.
While we're in the cutscene, do you want to explain how the setup works for the Forest Temple cutscene skip?
Oh yeah, so for the Forest Temple cutscene skip, oh my God, I'm about to cough. Okay, so when you do Ocarina items on the edge of the blue warp, after a certain amount of time, the game will begin making Link float up to start the next cutscene. And so it's actually really precise between the amount of time you have between the death, which you need to die like a very specific point before the floating starts, or as the floating is starting. And if you float too high, then you won't be able to die because you won't like touch the floor. So you you do the Ocarina items to gain control, and then you have to do a backflip to like land on the ground later than you normally are. Yeah, thanks. And so you still get that floaty property from the blue warp. And you have to die like right as you're starting to float up. So one really cool thing about being Forest Temple as a child is that I can immediately get the Prelude of Light just by exiting that room and reloading it. And so, because the Prelude of Light activates once you beat Forest Temple, so since I already beat it, just reload the room and the cutscene instantly starts. And this is really good because normally when you do the Dwarf time skip, the Dwarf time is still there, as you saw, for like half a second. So I can't just walk out of the Temple of Time. You would need to normally save warp, and on GameCube that's really slow. And so by getting the Prelude of Light instantly, I can avoid save warping to get out of the Temple of Time. And then afterwards, in a few minutes, I want to come back to Temple of Time again. And without the Prelude of Light, I need to save warp twice. But with the Prelude of Light, I can avoid 2 save warps and just play the song. So it's a really cool, like, coincidence of the route. There actually is a way to skip this cutscene, but in this route, the way the route works out, it's not faster to skip it. So it's if you were able to skip it, it would kind of like be, or if you were able to quickly skip it in this route, it would probably be like roughly the same time either way. By the time you save by skipping the save warps is quite a bit. So first thing I want to do as adult is go to Kakariko. Kakariko has a lot of important basic stuff that I need to get pretty early on. So here in Kakariko, I'm going to talk to the Cuckoo lady. She gives you the pocket egg, which is the beginning of the adult trade quest for the Big Goron Sword. So in addition to being important for just getting the Big Goron Sword, there's a glitch I'm going to do later on, or relatively soon, like in 5 or 6 minutes, where the item I have, I can get a lot of cool stuff in my inventory based on certain items. And the items in the Big Goron Sword trading quest are really good for that glitch. And so I'll be able to do a lot of cool stuff with that. So here I want to get the shield. There's a free shield in this grave. Pretty quick to get to. And then after this I want to get the hook shot. Oh, I should also explain my C buttons right now. So you see that I have a bomb on C down. So when you become an adult the first time, it automatically equips Deku Nuts to C left, Ocarina to C right, and bombs to C down. Now if you don't have either Deku Nuts or Ocarina, it won't be equipped there. Deku Nuts you can skip even normal gameplay, so that's expected. Strangely enough, Ocarina you can't skip in normal gameplay, but it doesn't automatically equip it if you don't have it. But bombs will always be equipped to C down regardless of if you have it or not. And so I just have that bomb there. For certain speedruns, you can actually use that to your advantage to kind of be able to use bombs without getting real bombs. In this speedrun, it's not too good, so it won't be useful, and I will just get normal bombs. But it's pretty interesting. So the Dampe race is one of the places where you like to use rolls a lot over backwalks. That was actually a really good race. 47 is pretty good. 46 is the best you can get with the fastest real-time strats. You can go all the way to 0 time if you can get faster times with slower strats all the way down to 0, but fastest with like actual fast strats is 46. So now after getting the hook shot, I want to go back to the graveyard. Only if I go through that doorway right in front of me, I'll go to the windmill. I don't want to go to the windmill right now. So I'm going to get crushed by the door, or like go back through the door when it closes, and they'll send me back to the beginning of the grave so I can go back to the graveyard. So now here in the graveyard, I'm going to go to the Shadow Temple very early. So I'm going to get the Infinite Sword glitch here, which again prevents me from falling. That'll be important later on. And now I'm going to do a super slide. Oops. So I'm going to try to grab a piece of grass while my shield is getting hit while targeting and I'm getting up from a roll. And this sends me backwards really fast and while trying to grab the piece of grass. And then when I let go of my shield, Link will try to pick up the piece of grass, but because I don't have any strength upgrade right now, Link will do the can't pick up grass animation, and that warps Link back to where the grass is, except it doesn't change Link's height. So because I went all the way up the slopes in the graveyard, I gained a bunch of height and just appeared above the grass. And then, because I had the Infinite Sword glitch active, when I got warped above the grass, because I can't fall, I just get stuck in the air there, and then I can side hop up to the green ledge and walk all the way up to Shadow Temple. And there's also normally a door that leads to, or a door right in front of Shadow Temple that you're supposed to open with Din's Fire by lighting a bunch of torches. There's actually a load trigger on the stairs that leads down there. And I completely avoided that load trigger with a side hop from above. And so the door didn't even load, and I just walked right in. So now I'm in Shadow Temple. All I really want to do here is grab the hover boots, and I'll be heading out. So again, I have to wait until Dead Hand, right before Dead Hand goes underground to attack. So an interesting thing to note about Dead Hand is Dead Hand's health is really weird because it actually changes whether you're adult or child, and it's not based on whether you're in Bottom of the Well or Shadow Temple. They're actually the exact same Dead Hand, and the health changes whether you're child or adult. You can fight both Dead Hands as both child and adult, and their health just changes. Which is why that Dead Hand fight looks a little bit different from the child fight. And so now I can use the pretty little white to get out of here and go back to Temple of Time really quickly. So now I'm going to make a quick trip to Ganon's castle over here. The only purpose of doing this trip to Ganon's castle is to make it night. Anytime you enter Ganon's castle, it automatically turns it to night. And the reason that's useful is because I have the pocket egg right now, which I want to hatch into the Cuckoo. And if I didn't go to Ganon's castle, it would still be daytime. I'd still need to wait a long time for it to hatch. So this just advances daytime quite a bit and makes the egg hatch a lot faster. I'm not actually going to do anything right now. It also doesn't waste that much time, even though it looks like that cutscene was kind of long. I'd have to watch that cutscene regardless anyway, so it just gets it out of the way earlier. So coming up is one of the biggest glitches in the run, if not the biggest glitch. It's called Reverse Bottle Adventure, or RBA for short. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bottle onto my B button by tricking the game into thinking that the B button is the last button I pressed when I swing a bottle. And the way bottles work is it just goes over the last button you pressed, which in theory should always be a bottle. But of course, with glitches you can change that. So I'm going to try to pull out my sword right as I enter the water. And then I can swing the bottle by holding Z and R and letting go of R. And it automatically swings the bottle without registering it as an input. And so now when I have a bottle on my B button, it will modify parts of my inventory based on the item I have on C right whenever I catch something or dump something out. So the first thing I did was I caught bugs with an empty bottle on C right, which puts a bottle in my third bottle slot. You now see I have that bottle in my third bottle slot. I then dumped bugs with Poe on C right. Poe modifies my bomb chew count, so I now have 20 bomb chews. I then caught bugs with Hookshot on C right, which puts a bottle of bugs in my ice arrow slot. And then I caught bugs with with the egg on C right, and that gives me the highest Deku Stick upgrade and a slingshot upgrade that only holds 10 seeds, which is a glitched upgrade. But it sounds weird that it's lower than the usual lowest amount, which is 30. But by having that glitched amount, I'll be able to get only a single upgrade later on, and it'll instantly give me the highest upgrade. So the reason I was waiting there is because I wanted the egg to hatch. I need the egg to hatch into the Cuckoo so I can move on. So I need to use this Cuckoo to wake up Talon in the house here, which will allow me to advance the trade quest. But before I advance the trade quest, I need to do a little bit more RDA. So look closely at my rupee count right now. I have 99 and it's green, which means my wallet is full. I'm going to sell my bugs on B, and it increased my wallet, and I got more rupees. So by selling bugs on B with Cuckoo on C right, it gives me the adult's wallet and the golden scale. And I also sold my other bugs just for extra rupees. Now I'm going to buy Red Potion. Red Potion will modify my fourth bottle slot. So when I catch bugs on my B bottle with Red Potion on C right, I'm going to get a bottle in my fourth bottle slot, which will then give me 3 out of the 4 bottles. And now I'm going to equip Empty Bottle back on C right, and then sell these bugs. And that puts an Empty Bottle in my third bottle slot, and my third bottle slot was previously occupied by Red Potion, and Red Potion is no longer there. So that was really just a quick way to get rid of Red Potion, as well as get some extra rupees back. And now I can continue this raid quest. Before I leave, before I go up to Death Mountain, I want to grab a fairy here. This will be useful for an upcoming trick. A trick that everyone loves. So I want to go to Dodongo's Cavern right now. I want to try to do a Hess off this sign. Alright, cool. So that's done by rolling into an explosion while holding slightly outside the dead zone, which is ESS position, and then holding Z and R. And that lets you go backwards really fast, but you have to keep holding slightly outside the dead zone for the entire time. So it's pretty precise. But it's easily the best form of movement in the game. So I want to have low health here. So in Dodongo's Cavern, there's this big Dodongo head that you're supposed to light with bombs at the end of the dungeon. You could actually just do it with bomb chews by precisely placing them on the wall. And it'll light both eyes from below. Now I want to go up to the top of Dodongo's Cavern really quickly. And to do that, I'm going to hookshot this ladder at the same time I die. And if you hookshot something and die at the same time, it'll send you flying upwards. And this bridge that I landed on is only solid from the top. So coming from the bottom, I just go right through it. And I just land on the top, and I can go to bombs really quickly. I'm supposed to turn around there. And so here's bombs. Another one of the best items in the game. So that'll be it for Dodongo's Cavern for now. I will be back a little bit later, a lot later. Really? I actually don't want to take too much damage here, so I'm just going to bail on that. So I want to go up to Goron City right now. On my way, I'm going to grab this 50 rupee chest that no speedrun ever gets, except this one. So there's a gold skulltula right here. I want to grab it. You kind of grab it from behind there, just because the hookshot extends through there. Then I'm going to head to Lost Woods. And I'm going to go in this grotto here. And this time I'm going to catch a fish on my B button with Pajero on C right. And this is going to give me a 30 arrow quiver and a bomb bag that holds 40 bombs, which is the highest bomb upgrade. So the reason I wanted to catch fish there instead of bugs is what you get on your B button determines what value is set to whatever part of your inventory is being modified. Now, Bugs is the higher value. Bugs has a value of 29, and Fish has a value of 25. So generally, Bugs is better for most cases for RBA. In that case, the Fish is better, because if I were to catch Bugs, I would actually get a quiver that holds 20 arrows, which is very fun to mess around with because it leads to some very interesting glitches that you will get to see in the glitch exhibition if you donate towards it. But unfortunately for a speedrun, it's very, very bad. And so I also dumped my Fish there with Odd Mushroom on C right. The Odd Mushroom modifies my heart piece count. And so by dumping that Fish, I just got 1 heart piece. Now, something important to note about RBA is that it does not give you items. It sets parts of your inventory to exactly a certain value, regardless of what you had before. And so what this means is that, say I have 3 heart pieces, and then I do RBA with Odd Mushroom, I will then lose 2 heart pieces and go down to 1 heart piece. Or if I have 0 heart pieces, I will then get 1 heart piece from that and get plus 1 heart piece. So it means you can get stuff deleted from RBA, and so you do have to be careful with it. In fact, there are things that will get deleted in this run that I'll have to get a second time. So that's my second gold Skulltula, 98 to go. Almost there. So now in Kakariko, before I trade in the Odd Mushroom to get the Odd Potion, I want to do a few things on the side, grab a few heart pieces, as well as a quiver upgrade. Heart piece from this guy. And play the archery game here for a quiver upgrade. Because I RBA'd Kajiro earlier, RBA and Kajiro gave me a quiver, and so even though I don't have the bow, I'm able to get a quiver upgrade regardless because of that. It's also important to note that the reason I had to delay RBA and Kajiro is because if I did it before I got bombs, then when I opened the bomb chest, I would actually get the bomb bag as a C item, and it would go over my bomb chew slot. It's a really weird glitch. And it would basically make me unable to use bomb chews for the rest of the run, as well as never give me the actual bomb item. So it's a really interesting glitch, but very detrimental for speedruns. So there's my first heart. That kind of proves the Odd Mushroom giving 1 heart piece, because I only collected 3 actual heart pieces, and that gave me a full heart because of that extra heart piece I got from the Odd Mushroom RBA. I'm going to do it one more time here. Catching the bugs here is going to give me 1 more heart piece. Only doing it after I get a full heart because, again, I don't want heart pieces deleted. And now I'm going to go over here and trade in the Odd Mushroom for the Odd Potion. So now I'm going to head over to the windmill, and I'm going to RBA the Odd Potion, catch bugs on B with Odd Potion on C right, and this is going to give me all 3 Spiritual Stones and the Song of Time. And I also want to do it before I get Song of Storms, because as I mentioned earlier, you can get items deleted with RBA. If I did it after I got Song of Storms, I would get Song of Storms deleted, which would be pretty bad. I also use Ocarina items here. It just saves a pause to use Ocarina items. It looks kind of interesting using Hookshot as Ocarina for this. So there's a heart piece here in the windmill. You're supposed to only get after coming here from Dante's grave. You can jump up here, jump over here and get it. So now I'm going to exit Kakariko and head off to Hyrule Field. So in Hyrule Field, I want to catch a big Poe. And so in Hyrule Field, there are 10 specific Poe spawn locations. To get the final bottle, or there's a bottle you get where you catch all 10 big Poes around Hyrule Field. And when you're on Epona, these Poe spawn locations will always spawn big Poes. When you're not on Epona, it's going to be random whether it's a big Poe or a small Poe. So this is going to be a little bit random. Hopefully I don't lose too much time on this. Also, killing the big Poe, you normally kill it with a bow. I don't have the bow right now. My only long-range weapon is bomb shoes. So I have to use bomb shoes to kill it. First try. All right.
Nice.
Nice.
So yeah, where was I going? So yeah, I needed to enter and exit Hyrule Castle, market there, because that setup for the big Poe is very precise. If you're slightly off position, the big Poe can go off into a weird direction, and the bomb shoes will have a lot of trouble hitting. So it seemed weird to like just go in and out for that, but it was to make sure, absolutely sure that the bomb shoes hit, because it's just like trying to YOLO the bomb shoes to hit the big Poe is not a good idea.
So do you know what the percentage is to get big Poe over a small Poe?
I don't know. I used to think it was 50%. I really doubt it's 50% now after doing this run because I've gotten some bad luck. I think it's probably like 25 to 33%, something like that. So before going back into Temple of Time, I RBA'd the Poe again so I can get 29 bomb shoes. I just refill my bomb shoe count. Bomb shoes are super important in this run. And then, so right now I'm opening the Door of Time as adult. Not something you normally see. Not something you really see in Ocarina of Time speedruns at all. Usually you never open the Door of Time. But the way this route works out, there's a few times where you get here without a sword. And you kind of need the door to be open. You actually can do Door of Time skip as adult if you have a sword and hover boots. But because I will be coming here without a sword, that wouldn't really be doable.
All right, so we have a $50 anonymous donation. He says, ZFG, you're awesome. Keep up the good work. And a $20 anonymous donation says, happy birthday, ZFG. Nice to see you spending your birthday helping the kids. Also, special thanks to all the speedrunners, announcers, and all the volunteers who made this amazing event. You all rock.
So one extra thing to note about the Door of Time is when you open it as adult, you have to enter the Temple of Time from the front entrance in order for the door to open. If you enter by, say, using the Prelude of Light, the door won't open. Like, the cutscene will play as normal, and the door just won't open. So that's why I didn't use the Prelude of Light to go back. Because I would have had to use the Prelude of Light, exit the Temple of Time, then go back in. And that would have been pretty slow. So I'm going to be trialed again for a pretty short amount of time. There's just one quick thing I want to do. I want to grab the slingshot upgrade. I mentioned earlier I have a glitched slingshot upgrade that only holds 10 seeds. You might have seen 19 earlier. That's just because I haven't used any slingshot seeds yet. As soon as I use one, it would go back to 10. But because of that glitched slingshot seed upgrade, I will get the biggest upgrade as soon as I finish this minigame. Whereas you normally would have to get 2 different upgrades. And so now I'm going to go to Hyrule Castle, and I'm just going to waste some slingshot seeds because I don't like the number 50. I want to have 43. Now that seems oddly specific. So the reason I want 43 is when I go back to adult, because I have a bottle on my B button as adult, when you go forward in time as child, it'll look at child C right item. And whatever value that item points to, it'll put the item of that value on your B button as adult. And so the big Poe points to my slingshot count. My slingshot count is 43. This means that when I become adult, it's going to put the item with the value of 43 on my B button. And the item with a value of 43 is the Mask of Truth. So this probably seems really weird. So here's why. So if you have ever casually completed this game 100%, you probably know of the disappearing Deckanut upgrade. There's this Deckanut upgrade in Lost Woods where you're supposed to show the Mask of Truth to a bunch of Deku Scrubs, and they give you a Deckanut upgrade for it. However, there's this misconception, a slight misconception, half true, half false, that when you become adult, this Deckanut upgrade becomes unobtainable. It is possible for the Deckanut upgrade to become unobtainable, but the trigger is not becoming adult. The trigger is actually getting the Poacher's Saw. And if you've been paying attention to my adult trading quest, how the trading quest is going for me, the Poacher's Saw is the next item I'm going to get. Which means if I get that item, I will no longer be able to get the Deckanut upgrade. So I need to get the Deckanut upgrade now or never. And getting it as child would be really slow because it's a very long process as child. So the best solution is to get the Mask of Truth on your B button as adult, and then just get the upgrade itself as adult. And if you're wondering what happens if adult Link wears the Mask of Truth, sorry, it's invisible. Nothing special happens. You can hear the sound of it, but you don't see anything. That's the sound of putting the mask on. Nice camera. But before I get the Mask of Truth Deckanut upgrade, I'm going to get the other Deckanut upgrade, which is also in Lost Woods. You buy it for 40 rupees from a Deku Scrub under this rock.
One thing was ZFG was doing a backflip off a bomb explosion. That's called a mega flip, and it allows you to get either more distance, which allowed him to go over the bridge that he entered when he first entered Lost Woods, and it also allowed him to get past Mido.
And so here is the Deckanut upgrade I was talking about. I just have to put on the mask here. And then these guys will dance around and give me the upgrade. And so after that, I leave this hole. I'm gonna do a glitch to get a lot of gold Skulltulas at once. So right now I have 2 gold Skulltulas. I'm going to go out of bounds, past that black loading trigger right in front of me, and I'm going to enter that loading trigger from behind. And every time I enter it from behind, it's going to load the area again and load everything in here again. And there's 1 gold Skulltula on the ledge above me. Really? And so I'm going to turn that 1 gold Skulltula into lots of gold Skulltulas. I also kind of need to concentrate on this part, so I do need some silence. I need to make absolute sure I count everything properly here.
All right, so we have a $10 donation from Banjo Dave, who says, ZFG, you are cool.
Alright, so now I just loaded 62 gold Skulltulas at once, and I'm going to kill them all. There's nothing wrong with the stream. The game is actually frozen right now. Do not panic. Alright, so I should have 98 gold Skulltulas loaded. Alright, I should now have 100 gold Skulltulas. And there's also some weird texture glitches on the ground. I'm going to save just in case, because the game can crash at this point. So if I roll into a wall, the game crashes. If a bomb explodes, the game crashes. Sometimes when I pause, the game crashes. Hopefully it doesn't happen. There's only one pause left. And so to explain that glitch in a little more detail, so I loaded I loaded that area from behind over and over again. Every time I did a side hop to the right, that loaded an extra gold Skulltula. And so I stopped my first set of duping at 62 gold Skulltulas. And the reason for that is, check, yep, 100 gold Skulltulas, 100 emoji. And so, at a certain amount of gold Skulltulas, the game starts really having a hard time loading stuff. But the game can handle Skulltula tokens better than it can full gold Skulltulas. So at 62, I stopped, and I used a bomb chew to kill a bunch of gold Skulltulas. So they all turned into tokens. And then that freed up a lot of memory to allow more gold Skulltulas to load. Although I kept having to do that in smaller and smaller batches. First 62, then 20, then 10, then 6. And then 98 is the absolute max that I've ever been able to get. It seems weird how close to 100 it is, but I cannot get 100. Well, okay, I think I can get 100, but it comes at the cost of not being able to load bombs and bomb chews, which means you can't hover up there. And the normal way you're supposed to get up there is with a magic beam plant, which would add another thing that would get duped, which would lower the amount of stuff you can dupe, so that's not really an option. So anyway, moving on, I'm going to do RBA again here. Mess it up there. Wait for the bugs to go away so they don't mess up. So I'm going to get a bottle on B again. A bottle on B again here. And I'm going to catch bugs with Poacher Saw on C right. Really? Come on. Please don't do this.
Yeah, that beef press is frame perfect.
Well, the thing is, like, even when you do the setup right, you shouldn't even be able to pull out the sword like that. So something weird is happening that it happens to me occasionally, and I don't understand why it happens. Okay, finally.
There we go.
Okay, so by catching Bottle on B with Poacher Saw on C right, it gives me a bunch of songs. It gives me Zelda's Lullaby, Nocturne of Shadow, Prelude of Light, which I already have, and Serenade of Water. And so Zelda's Lullaby and Nocturne of Shadow are the big ones. Those songs take a long time to get, and so that's just like super fast. Prelude of Light, it seems kind of weird that I can RB a Prelude of Light like that and then still watch the cutscene earlier, but there's actually no way to avoid the Prelude of Light cutscene, so I couldn't really do anything about that regardless. Same thing with the Serenade of Water. I actually will have to trigger the Serenade of Water cutscene later on regardless. But I'll still get it. So now I need to cross this broken bridge in Gerudo Valley. I'm going to do a mega side hop and equip hover boots. This gives me a lot of speed to cross the entire gap. so now I can give the poacher saw to this guy to advance the trade quest. So now I have empty bottle on C right, and I'm going to dump my bugs here. And this puts an empty bottle on bottle 3. And bottle 3 is where I had the big Poe, so now that just deleted the big Poe. Just for convenience sake, because I don't need the big Poe anymore. Normally the only way to get rid of big Poe is to sell it, and that's way faster than selling it. So catching bugs with... hold on. Let's see if I can do this. Nope. Okay. So catching bugs with Poacher Saw or Broken Goron Sword on C right gives me the Shadow Medallion, Spirit Medallion, Water Medallion, and Forest Medallion. And so that's really big because that means I do not have to beat Shadow, Spirit, and Water Temple, which is a massive time saver. However, it does come at a cost. It deletes my Light Medallion. And that's a problem, because Light Medallion is required at the end of the game. So I'll be having to do some weird shenanigans to get my Light Medallion back later on.
Alright, so we have a $5 donation from Mark Sean. Mark Sean says, had to donate during Ocarina of Time. You can ban me from chat, but you can't ban me from donating mods.
So how's the glitch exhibition looking?
What, approximately 10%?
All right. Get more than 10%, guys. Like 100%.
If everyone in chat donates like $2, like we could be done. Come on, chat. You're better than this. You want it? Come get it.
I promise it's worth it.
Trust me, you guys want to see that.
And I say that being 0% sellout. So now that I have Zelda's Lullaby, I can come down here and get the Sun Song. Obviously a very useful song, and required. That's because I tried to play the song too fast. Game can't keep up with me. So I'm going to kill another Poe here and grab it. So even though I already have a Poe in my inventory, I want to get this one still. The reason is I need to have a Poe in my third bottle, and the other Poe I had was in my first bottle. So even though it looks kind of weird that I now have two Poes, they both serve a specific purpose. So here, there's a heart piece up on this ledge that I want to get. To get it, I'm going to do a glitch called the Weird Shot, where I roll into a bomb. I roll into a bomb, and I get Link to do some glitchy animations, which kind of glitches him under the floor. And so I can use the hookshot under the floor to hookshot up to the box early and grab that heart piece. I also need to grab bugs here. Oops.
Link is not actually under the floor there, only the camera is. So if you cancel the hook shot, Link will just appear right where he was before.
So now I'm going to the House of Skulltula to get all the Skulltula rewards, which I can get all at once because I already got 100 gold Skulltulas. So because I already RBA'd the Adult's Wallet earlier, the guy that gives me the Adult's Wallet gives me the Giant's Wallet. And if you try to get the one that gives you the Giant's Wallet, you just get the Giant's Wallet again. It doesn't actually do anything. And this is one of the best parts of the run. Because I get 100 gold Skulltulas so early, I can actually get the 100 gold Skulltula reward, which is 200 rupees, which everyone kind of hates that it's such a dumb reward, but it's actually useful for the speedrun, and I think it's so cool that something that casuals and speedrunners alike all hate because it's so useless is actually finally useful in this specific run. And then the other two Skulltula rewards I could just skip. Again, one was the Giant's Wallet that I would have just gotten twice that doesn't do anything. The other one is extra bomb shoes, which I have more than enough of right now. So now I'm going to have to Death Mountain, do some collecting up there. Trying to do a Hess there, but kind of hard. Every time.
All right, so we've got a couple donations. Anonymous donates $5 and says, "Good luck, ZFG." Sean Z donates $10 and says, "I love you, Jay. Keep up the good Ocarina of Time work." Anonymous donates $2 and says, "Here's my $2. Come on, chat. Let's get that glitch exhibition." Anonymous donates $5 and says, "Hype." Princess Viviana again donates $2 and says, "Hello again, ZFG. Dude, I already donated $5. Why do you want more?" Couch Guy said donate $2, so here it is. He said everyone in chat should donate $2, but this is no source requirement, so I got a few people covered. I love you, ZFG. I love you. Franker Z.
Alright. So right now I'm using a lot of bomb chews as my explosives. I want to save bombs. I'm pretty low on bombs anyway, so I need to keep those. As well as later on, I kind of need to waste some bomb chews. So it's good to just get rid of some right now and actually have them be useful for something. And so here I can finally get magic. So a lot of people always ask, like, what happens if you try to get one of the other magic upgrades before you get the first magic upgrade, the one I'm getting right now? And the answer is very uninteresting. You can't. If you try to play Zelda at a different fairy fountain, you get the little jingle that plays, but no cutscene happens. You don't get anything. So no, you cannot get double magic before magic or something like that. So here I'm going to trade in the Broken Goron Sword for the prescription, just continuing the trade quest. So this is the point of the trade quest where the items are no longer really useful for RBA. You can't do something with them if you RBA them. Most of the future items will give you maps, compasses, and boss keys of dungeons. Generally not that helpful. Also, some of you might be aware of the early eyeball frog glitch. It's a glitch that only works on the 1.0 and 1.1 and 64 versions, which the GameCube version is 1.2. All versions that are not on the N64 are always 1.2. So it doesn't work on this version. And so the eyeball frog is the next item in the trade quest after prescription. In normal 100%, it saves a lot of time because you can skip so much of the trade quest. But in this category, because you want to do so much of the trade quest, all it would really skip is the prescription, which is very little time. So the fact that it doesn't work on this version hardly matters at all, which is kind of interesting because in normal 100%, it's a massive deal. And so in that grotto there, I got a 20 bomb chest. One of the best small chests in the game. 20 bombs is actually incredible. Every speedrunner loves that chest. And another heart piece. And then to get into the double magic fountain here, you're normally supposed to break some blocks, some rocks with the Megaton hammer, but you can clip through it with a mega flip or a super slide or any kind of fast movement. There's a lot of ways to get in here early. It's not very difficult.
So I have $67 from Zachary Witten, who says, and over 30K we go, thanks to all the donors and runners. We're now over 30K donated for St. Jude.
Oh, man. So that's double magic immediately after getting magic. So now out here, there's a heart piece on this mountain over here that I want to get. And then there's a trigger to get the Bolero of Fire right off to the side here on this bridge. Now I want to get the song, but I don't want to watch the cutscene. So I'm going to do a glitch where I fall out of bounds when I activate the cutscene. Really? Okay, I failed it. So what's supposed to happen there is you grab a ledge right as the cutscene starts, and when you do that, Link starts falling and he clips through the ground, and so you kind of just fall out of bounds and void out in the middle of the cutscene, which skips the cutscene and gives you the song.
That setup for that cutscene skip is actually somewhat inconsistent. Even when you aim for an exact spot, it's still really easy to fail it.
Not the Blob donates $2 and says the $2 from chat. Sakatana also donates $10 and says Ocarina of Time more broken? Yes, please.
I don't have. See ya. That's not really a big deal. That's like a 10-second loss. The missed cuts and skip is a lot more. So I'm actually about to get the Goron tunic. A little late. So the normal way you get the Goron tunic is to bomb this Goron rolling around Goron City, and then he cries to you about the Gorons are all getting eaten up by the Vladir or something. But you can clip out of bounds here and slide right into the Goron shop, and in the Goron shop you can just buy the Goron tunic for 200 rupees, as well as buying bombs, which is super good because I need a lot of bombs. And so buying the Goron tunic is really, really fast because the Goron baby that cries to you takes forever to talk.
So we just got a $200 donation from Tempest saying, for the children, for the glitches, for all the Skulltulas we've loved, lost, and never see, happy birthday, ZFG.
So because I RBA'd the gold scale way earlier on, I can just dive in normally, even though I never normally attained scale. So here to get into Zora's Domain, you can go right past the waterfall with hover boots, grab the ledge, and get there without opening up the waterfall. And from here, I'm going to head up to Zora's Fountain, and then go get Flora's Wind, and then head into Ice Cavern. Now, to get up to Zora's Fountain, King Zora normally blocks the way to Zora's Fountain as child, and then you're supposed to move him as child, which then moves him as adult. But because I never moved him as child, he's still there, even as adult. So to get past him, I'm going to go out of bounds, and then just jump right past him.
So we have a $2 donation from Loki AF. I do want that glitch exhibition. Make it happen, guys. Smiley face.
That was pretty smooth. So yet another fairy fountain. This one getting Flora's Wind. So Flora's Wind is an item that a lot of casual players always think that it's completely useless. Speedrunners love Flora's Wind. It's actually one of the best items in the game, both for its intended use and for its glitch potential. Both will be featured in this run. Actually, a side note, another thing that Flora's Wind is very useful for is setting up files for glitch exhibitions that I will be doing later on.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. If you guys give more money.
As long as chat doesn't let us down.
There's one heart piece on an iceberg over here that I want to grab real quick. And then I'll be heading into Ice Cavern. Right there, what I did is a super swim. So if you go into the water with a lot of speed, and you hold forward and mash Z, you'll preserve that speed up until Link comes up for air. And also if you do that while already at the surface of the water, and just shield something while in the water, then you can preserve it basically until you just want to stop, as long as you just keep mashing Z in some direction. So here in Ice Cavern, there's this gate right here that normally opens when you kill all the freezers in the room. Like, you clip right through the gate by getting a freeze rod up really close to you and then hookshotting, and it'll force you through the gate. Now here I want to clip clip out of bounds past red ice wall. Unfortunately I needed one of the icicles that I broke. I want to kill the first two, not that one. So I'm going to crouch stab a wall and then equip hover boots. And when you get a big speed boost, like crouch stabbing a wall, and then immediately equip hover boots, you gain a lot of that speed, because with hover boots your speed decreases very slowly, whereas with Kokiri boots your speed decreases basically instantly. And so because of that you get to keep that speed for quite a bit, which can force you through walls.
So we got a $50 anonymous donation that says, "For the children, my 50 will help cover a few others in chat, but I don't mean you. You still need to help out and donate." Rob Mexi donates $2 and says, "Come on, chat. Every little bit helps. For the kids. Happy birthday, ZFG." Anonymous donates, "Here's my 2." Another Anonymous says, "Doing my part for the kids." And $10 from Anonymous says, "Had fun watching you guys this weekend, so I figured I'd toss some money for St. Jude's."
So you can Mega Flip through the red ice there, skips using Blue Fire to melt it. Even though I got Blue Fire already, I'm going to be using that Blue Fire for King Zora. So the White Wolfos there, Wolfos and White Wolfos are both weak to hits on the back, so they'll always die in one hit if you just hit them in the back. Now here, this is the Iron Boots chest. I want to die as soon as I open this chest to skip a cutscene. Okay. So, I'm already dead. I already lost all my health. As soon as I get the Iron Boost and as soon as I close this text box, the Serenade of Water cutscene will start, and I'll die at the same time, so I don't have to watch this long cutscene. And also, so what I was doing to take damage there to die was damage buffering. So, when a bomb explodes, its hitbox lasts for quite a while. And normally you have invincibility frames after you take damage, so you don't get comboed by the same hitbox over and over again. But if you take out the Ocarina, that'll waste your invincibility frames. Or if you do other things like reading a sign, other things to stop the game. And so I can repeatedly take damage from the same source over and over again, which lets me die really quickly there. So now I want to enter Jabu Jabu. But wait a minute, where's Jabu? He's not there. Because it froze over and everything. Well, it turns out the loading zone for Jabu is actually above the water, but below the ice. And so what I want to do here is a hover in the corner into a mega side hop. Which will put me through the ice and into Jabu.
So we have a $116 donation from Boca Melabel. I already told myself I wouldn't donate anymore, but oh well. Might as well make it 300 in total from my end. Also, chat, get your lazy butts into gear. Don't want to wait for high donation snipes and donate. You'll regret not seeing the glitch exhibition.
So the reason I want to be in Jabu as adult is just that the detour to go to Jabu as child is really big. Like in this run in particular, I have no reason whatsoever to go to the main Zora's Fountain area of the game. And so as adult, I'm very conveniently here for Ice Cavern, for his Wind and everything. So it's just a quick detour to come in here and grab the boomerang all by myself, or all quickly as an adult. And I also only need to get the boomerang because I already RBA'd the Zora Sapphire earlier when I RBA'd on Potion, which gave me Zora Sapphire. I am not required to beat the dungeon. Again, because there's no source requirement, I'm just required to have the items at the end of the run, rather than requiring to beat all the dungeons and collect everything like normal. And so beating Jabu is not a requirement. And that's the normal thing that would stop Adult Link from doing Jabu, because you need the boomerang to beat Baronade, and Adult Link can't normally use the boomerang. There is a workaround where you can use Bottle Adventure, which is a glitch I used to get the Mask of Truth on B. You can use that to get the boomerang on B as adult, which you can then use to beat Baronade as adult. But that's a long setup and kind of pointless. Another thing you saw in the room before this room, one really neat thing about Adult in Jabu is in the room prior to this, you don't have to raise the water level because Adult Link is tall enough to just climb up the ledge there. That's honestly the only cool thing about Jabu. Jabu is honestly like the most boring dungeon. In a speedrun, at least.
So we have $40 from Gianni Esposito. Says, hey Jay, everybody's watching at home, mom, dad, and even Nana. So don't screw up. Good luck with the rest of the run, and I hope we get that glitch exhibition.
I'll try.
And Honky McButterball donates $10 and says, ZFG, I love you. Please don't die.
I'll try not to. And so here's the boomerang, and that'll be all I want to do with Jabu. I didn't set Furrow's Wind. Oh yeah, I was supposed to set Furrow's Wind in the beginning of the dungeon. I forgot. Well, that's cool. Guess I'll just walk out.
We have a $20 donation from a pastor who says, way to play, Jay.
Thanks, Apache. So here I'm finally going to unfreeze King Zora. So he may be blocking the way, but shortly after unfreezing him, he's not fully, he doesn't fully have collision for a short amount of time, so I can just walk right through him. But right at the end, he loads and pushes you away. So you do have to do that quickly. So then I can just talk to him to get the Zora Tunic, and then give him the prescription for the Idol Frog. So, you need to deliver the eyeball frog to the researcher in Lake Hylia. And because Zora's Domain is frozen, you normally need to take a very long route through Hyrule Field to get there. But by going out of bounds, you can hit the warp under the ice in Zora's Domain to take a quick warp to Lake Hylia. Makes the trip really quick. And I also want to try to get some bomb drops here. That's one. If I get one more, that's really good. Or not. I don't need one anyway. I do, actually. So you get a heart piece by diving to the bottom here. It's a quick heart piece to get, and I can also grab some rupees while I'm here. I should also note that I'm not grabbing every single heart piece. As you might be able to guess, I can do a glitch similar to the Gold Skulltula duping glitch with heart pieces, and I can't do it for quite as many as Gold Skulltula's, but there's quite a few heart pieces that are really quick to get, so that I might as well just get them because it's better than duping an extra one. So I just got the eye drops, and the eye drops is another item with an expiration timer where you have to deliver it within a certain amount of time. And normally for these items, you're not supposed to be able to play warp songs because it'll immediately set your timer to 1 because it's kind of like cheating. But if you warp specifically to Death Mountain Crater, there's a heat timer because you don't have the Goron Tunic on. And that heat timer takes priority over the expiration timer, and so you won't so it won't actually expire while in Deathmat Crater. Now I need to do RBA one more time here. The purpose of this RBA is really more to get a bottle on B than it is to get some weird item. But, jeez, I'm feeling a lot. But just so that my RBA has some purpose, I'm going to use it with Lens of Truth, which will put a bottle over my Megaton Hammer slot, and that'll just make the Megaton Hammer chest opening slightly faster when I get there. Why I'm feeling this so much. Need to reset the timer. You can reset your heat timer just by equipping and unequipping the tunic without unpausing. Neat little trick just so you don't screw yourself over. Why am I failing this? There we go. My bomb count actually really sucks right now. I'm gonna have to do something about that. So, your timer does go to 1 second after playing the warp song, just not until after you exit Deathbound Crater. But luckily, that's enough time to go to Big Goron and give him the eye drops. So I get the claim check, and when you get the claim check, you need to wait 3 days for Big Goron to complete the sword. So I just need to play Sun Song a bunch. And meanwhile, I'm going to take some damage. I'm going to want to die later on, so it's going to take some damage here. I can also use my Ocarina song playing to take 2 hits from a single bomb chew with damage buffering. I also want to have exactly 13 bomb chews after this. Alright, and here is the Goron sword. What am I doing? Alright, so back earlier in the run when I did RBA with the Broken Giant's Knife, I mentioned that RBA the Shadow, Forest, Water, and Spear medallions. So when you have the Shadow and Spear medallion in your inventory, that is the trigger for the Light Arrow cutscene to start. So by warping to Temple of Time, I instantly start the Light Arrow cutscene. Now I mentioned earlier that I wanted to have exactly 13 bomb chews. So for the reason for this is for Bottle Adventure. So if you remember back when I got the Mask of Truth on B, I mentioned how when you go back in time and then forward in time, while Adult has a bottle on B, it'll take a look at Child's C right item and put whatever value that item points to on Adult's B button. So the cool thing about the Light Arrow cutscene is that there's a flashback in the cutscene to where Link is Child, and that flashback actually counts as going back in time and then forward in time, and so that activates Bottle Adventure. And so the item that Child has on C right now is Bottle 3, which I currently have a Poe in, and Poe looks at my bomb chew count. My bomb chew count is currently 13, which means that at the end of the light arrow cutscene, I'll have the item with the value 13 on my B button, and that item is Ferora's Wind.
All right, we have a $10 donation from Moro, who says, "Way to play, a Pasher 2K16." Imaginary Assassin donates $20 and says, "Money for kids and the glitches." Gilly donates $2 and says, "Happy birthday, ZFG. I've always enjoyed watching your runs at these events. Here are my $2. Come on, chat. Let's do this for the kids and for the glitches."
Oh, so one thing I wanted to mention earlier I forgot about regarding Skulltula duping. So a lot of you are probably familiar with the Infinite Skulltulas glitch at Hyrule Castle. It's like the most well-known glitch in OT, where you use a boomerang on a gold Skulltula token and you go in the light, and you can get it again over and over again. And it's like the most well-known method for Skulltula duping. So that method is actually really, really, really slow. It's like, I think on average it's like a rate of 25 seconds for one token. That is absolutely not an option in a speedrun like this. So the method of Skulltula duping I did in this run, I got 98 Skulltulas within a span of around 3.5 minutes. That averages out to like a little over 2 seconds per gold Skulltula. Way, way faster. So, interesting thing to note. Just a lot of people always think to that one method of gold Skulltula duping in Hyrule Castle, and that's just so incredibly slow for speedrunning. Oh, so some of you might be aware of a glitch to get the light arrows without watching the light arrow cutscene, with a glitch called Get Item Manipulation. So it seems like it's a really good glitch. It seems like, oh, it skips the longest cutscene in the game, why don't you use it? So the big problem with doing that is that I'd have to avoid the light arrow cutscene for the entire run, and that's not really an option because it means I don't have access to Temple of Time once I get the Shadow and Spirit medallions, and I have to go back to Child later on. There's still stuff I need to get as Child. I still need to do Bottle Adventure for some stuff, which requires going back and forth through time. So even though it seems like skipping a nearly 5-minute cutscene is like a massive time save, it's just not an option the way this route works out. So as I mentioned earlier, I'd get Ferora's Wind on B after the cutscene. Now the reason Ferora's Wind on B is so important is because whenever you have an item on B, you can use that item wherever you can use your sword, which is almost anywhere. And being able to use Ferora's Wind almost anywhere, which means outside of dungeons, is really big, both for just being able to warp around fast and for glitches. So, but it comes with a catch, I guess. Almost anywhere isn't really good enough, because I actually do need to set Ferora's Wind in a place where you normally can't use your sword, which means you can't use Ferora's Wind. So I'm going to turn that almost anywhere into actually anywhere at the cost of the use of other items. So I'm going to set Ferora's Wind outside of Long Ranch right now. And then I'm going to go inside Long Ranch and play the horse minigame. And when I warp out of that, I'll be able to use Flora's Wind actually anywhere. And I also want to enter Longland Ranch at almost night, not exactly night, because you can only play this minigame at daytime, but I want it to be nighttime slightly later on. So I talk to Ingo, play the minigame. So I'm going to get on and off this horse real quick. It's going to look really weird, but I promise it has a purpose. And then warp out. So I can now use Flora's Wind anywhere. However, I'm not able to use any of my C buttons except Ocarina. And some songs while playing the Ocarina don't even work properly. So that's not exactly very good. That's why I won't be doing any super slides or Hesses here. I'm just going to have to backwalk over to Kissimmee Forest. So, the thing with the horse. So, not being able to use any other items besides my B button is not exactly very good. It's great that I can use Flora's Wind anywhere, but I really need to get the use of my items back. The only way to get the use of my items back is to die. And if I die with Flora's Wind on B, normally that would make it go back to Deku Stick. And a Deku Stick on B is not really that useful. So I want to make sure it stays as Flora's Wind on B after I die. And by getting on and off the horse, it does some weird things with the B button where it like stores your B button value in a certain way, so that when I die, I'll continue to have Flora's Wind on B afterwards. So I want to set Flora's Wind in that house specifically. And then and that Flora's Wind will be useful for a glitch later on. And nothing happens when the timer expires. The timer actually does nothing here. So, now I'm dead. That's cool. And now I have to use my items back. Now I'm going to head off to Fire Temple. Alright, so here in Fire Temple, there's a cutscene at the beginning of Fire Temple in the room to the left, where Darunia starts talking to you about all the Gorons, and it's a fairly long cutscene. I don't want to watch it, so really? Oh my god. Oh my god, dude, I'm so mad. Okay, so I want to do a glitch where I make my camera look away from Darunia when I enter the room. That heart is actually really good. Okay, so this glitch camera is going to make the camera not focus on Darunia here. And I actually need to do a glitch to... Okay, good. Because I'm so low on bombs, I have to do a weird strat here where I trigger the cutscene. At the same time, I grab a ledge, and then I'm able to walk around while the text box is up. So I don't have to watch the entire cutscene. Normally, I would avoid the cutscene altogether, but this just lets me get bombs. So Darunia just sits there. Actually, might as well get a fairy wall here so I don't die. Oh my god.
Fairies are notorious for getting you when you don't want them and avoiding you when you want them.
Yeah. So digging a fire temple is pretty standard. Just get a few keys, go through some doors. It's fairly linear at the beginning. But then cool tricks start to happen around halfway through. Right here I can do a Hess across the lava. When you have Goron Tunic on, it doesn't prevent you from taking damage from the lava. It just makes it so that you only take damage at a very slow rate. That Hess actually gets over the lava pretty much right before you would actually take damage from the lava. So if you actually like do that Hess slightly wrong, then you'll get hit like right at the end, right before you hit land. But when you do it right, which is actually most of the time, it's not like it's that difficult, but the timing works out just right. Alright, so in this room, there's a shortcut that leads to the upper portion of the fire temple. You're normally not supposed to be able to access that shortcut until much later on. But you can do a bomb boost to clip through this corner, get to the shortcut really early, as well as getting to a key early. So this skips quite a bit, saves a lot of time. Just gotta climb up here. So in this room, there's a bunch of firewalls that come up when you come within a certain distance of them. But they come up pretty slowly, and if you approach them very fast, like with a Hess here, you can just bypass them really quickly. And at that last firewall there, you can backflip right in a corner with while you have invincibility, and it just clips you right through the fire to get up here really quickly. So the Flare Dancer fight is really weird. I don't have a sword right now. The only way I can damage this guy is with the hook shot. Looks kind of silly, pretty slow, but my only option. You can grab onto this platform right as the cutscene starts and make it go up a little bit faster. So here's the Megaton Hammer. That chest opening was faster than usual because of the, the RBA earlier I did with the Lens of Truth, which puts a bottle over the hammer slot, and that just makes the hammer opening chest faster when you already have the item in that slot. And then I'm going to do a boss key skip here by doing a Hess in the corner. You can, because you're going so fast, it clips you out of bounds. And then you can fall really far down and hit the loading zone from out of bounds. And now I'm in the boss room. So the way this Volvagia fight works is that Volvagia has two hitboxes, one that flies around and one that pops out of the holes. And the one that flies around goes into the last hole it flew into, which was that hole right in front of me. So I can actually just use bomb shoes right on this hole to do a lot of damage really quickly.
Hey, just letting you know, we actually have a donation from Princess Miana with $1. Frankers, 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 Frankers.
Love it.
I love you, ZFG.
And so I was also using Decker Nuts to blow up the bomb shoes really quickly there. Just helps make it go faster. Oh my god, first try.
Wow.
Okay, so
That was scary.
now remember, I set Foro's Wind back in the house in Kikuri Forest. And so right there, I used Foro's Wind exactly as I stepped into the blue warp. And I tried to use Foro's Wind right as the cutscene for the Fire Medallion was starting. Now, this is called a wrong warp, where you try to load one area while another cutscene is starting, and then it sends you to some completely other area or cutscene. In this case, this is the Light Medallion cutscene, as in the cutscene you watch when you first become adult. Now, if you remember way back when I RBA'd the Broken Goron Sword, I mentioned that I deleted my Light Medallion I needed to get back. So this is what I do to get the Light Medallion back. Is wrong warp to this cutscene and watch it again. And now, this cutscene isn't quite as long as the normal first time you watch it because there's no Sheik portion at the end. So, not quite like another long... I mean, it's kind of long, but it's not as long as it normally is.
Yeah, it was kind of frightening. He got the first try. It's nice that he got it, but if he stepped just a little bit further, pressed B a frame later, then he would have walked into the warp, and that would have been catastrophic.
I would have lost like 15 minutes. At that point, I would use a backup save and go right past that point. But it's all good. I'm clutch. See that clutchness? So, because I never actually warped back to the normal place where I set Foro's Wind, it's still there. and I can warp back to it, which is really good because the next place I want to set for Roseland is also in Kissimmee Forest. So let me go back really quickly. This next place I want to set for Roseland is right outside Link's house. So now I want to go in the Deku Tree. So Deku Tree is normally not accessible as adult because the Deku Tree's mouth is closed. But what you can do is go out of bounds, like what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take damage from the bomb and equip hover boots right as I jump off here. And this is going to do what's called a mega jump, where I get a massive amount of height and distance, so I can get up here. And I can skip this load trigger that loads the back part of Kissimmee Forest with the Deku Tree. And so the Deku Tree's mouth is actually an object that's not loaded at all times if you're not in the area. So you'll see Link fall right here, right there. That's where the Deku Tree's mouth is, and it's just not loaded. And because that's what is normally supposed to prevent you from going inside Deku Tree, and I just prevented it from loading, it's not an issue. So now I'm in Deku Tree, and I need to go fight Goma. So I'm going to do a Mega Flip right here.
Hey, before you do that, we have another donation coming in by Mariko with $5. I'm a simple man. I see Ocarina of Time. I donate some rupees.
Okay. So I'm going to do a Mega Flip here, and when I land, I'm going to clip through the floor. And I'm going to do a backflip. And I'm going to fall really far down. And I'm going to be in the boss room.
Okay, a lot of the setups that ZFG is doing, the reason he's doing backflips and side hop is because they have there's an exact position of how far a backflip or a side hop or a side roll will go. So he uses those to make sure his setups are consistent every time.
Yeah, it's one of the really great things about the movement in this game is it's so precise. You can make everything you do so incredibly precise, which makes glitches that would otherwise be like incredibly difficult actually fairly trivial. Like that mega flip I did to clip out of bounds, ridiculously precise, but it's not hard at all because the setup gets you that ridiculous precision every single time. Alright, so I'm going to do another wrong warp here. I'm going to use Furo's Wind as soon as the Kokiri Emerald cutscene is about to start. And I'm going to try to warp back to where I set Furo's Wind in Link's house. And that's going to send me to someplace interesting.
All right, once again, we have a donation from Princess Diana with $1. It's Franker Z with a Z, like in ZFG. Please get it right this time. Franker Z, 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 Franker Z. I still love you, ZFG.
All right. So I just did a wrong warp into the Saria's song cutscene. And the cutscene doesn't look quite right, as you can probably tell by Saria's position right now, where her legs are inside the log. So first of all, the reason I do wrong warp to Saria's song is the normal way you get Saria's song is you have to meet Zelda at Hyrule Castle and then go to Sacred Forest Meadow. Now, first of all, meeting Zelda at Hyrule Castle is very slow. The cutscene's really long. The movement to get there is not exactly fast. And then I'd have to make a return trip to Sacred Forest Meadow as child, which itself isn't fast. And so wrong warping to Saria's song ends up being the fastest way to get Saria's song. And also when you're wrong warped here, it's a really weird map. It's not the normal Sacred Forest Meadow map. It has like no enemies, no other objects, a lot of weird stuff. And there's also 2 Saria song triggers, so you have to watch the cutscene twice. And this time, Saria got herself out of the log.
Do you know what the difference is between the first cutscene and the second one that causes the animations to be different?
No idea. Wish I knew. All I can tell you is that this game is very dumb.
That is true.
I mean, a possibility is it could have been a beta cutscene, but not too sure. There are some things that have been left inside the game, but don't load under normal circumstances. But with Furrows Win on B, these are not normal circumstances.
So normally at that position on the map, I would learn the Minuetta Forest. I would immediately step into the Minuetta Forest trigger. But because that wasn't the normal map, it doesn't work like that. So as soon as I exit Forest Temple, I'll immediately step into the Minuetta Forest trigger. You're normally supposed to step into it coming to Forest Temple, not exiting Forest Temple. But because it's a trigger you walk into, you can die as you exit Forest Temple and die in the cutscene and get the song without having to watch the cutscene. So this isn't the case for a lot of other song cutscenes like the Requiem of Spirit cutscene and the Nocturne of Shadow cutscene, because those are cutscene triggers that activate on the area loading, whereas that cutscene activated on stepping into a trigger, which happened to be right after the area loaded. So in that case, you actually have time to step into the load trigger. For other cutscenes, you don't. So now I've got to do Forest Temple. Basically looks like standard Forest Temple speedrun stuff here. Gotta go up to get the bow. I already beat Forest Temple. Again, that was the very first dungeon I beat. So I don't have to beat the boss, but I do need to get the item. Come on. So there's a Song of Time block here. I could use Song of Time to get rid of it, but instead I'm just going to clip through it. If you grab a ledge and target a wall right next to that ledge, on the first frame you grab it, it'll turn Link towards the wall, and then because of the way Link's collision works, it'll actually clip through whatever you're standing on. So I just clipped through the Song of Time block there and dropped down, and then open the door from there. Here's another mega jump to skip quite a bit of Forest Temple and get up to this ledge early.
I think one of my favorite parts in the speedrun is when you open the door and went right through, and also this donation that came through. Chad is wrong, $10 donation. It's really S though. Chad is showing you Franker S, 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 Franker S. So
that clip I just did through that block, when you do a triple slash with the Bigoron sword, it gives you quite a bit of speed at the very end. And so you can use that to clip through certain 90-degree angles between objects and walls. So I can clip through that block there. People familiar with speedrunning might not recognize that trick. It's actually kind of new. The normal method is to do 2 ground jumps, one up on another block and then on the second block I did there. So it just skips the ground jump. It's actually not faster. It's basically the same exact speed. It just saves a bomb, which is kind of neat. Especially in this category where bombs are extremely valuable. Alright, so here's the bow. So again, that chest opening was faster because I already have the item, or one of the items in that chest. I got the quiver earlier, as you might remember, and because of having the quiver early, that makes the chest opening faster. So I already beat the boss, but I do want to go back to the boss room because there's a special treat waiting for me, this heart piece that has been sitting here for 2 hours. So the reason I skipped it earlier in the run is because I needed to die at that point, and the heart container refilling my health is not really a good way to set up dying. But now's a good time to grab it. It's only a very small detour. So I'm going to head over to Lake Hylia and first get fire arrows and then go into Water Temple. So this trick to get fire arrows is a lot of people's favorite trick in the run. It's a very fun trick. So I need to climb this tree. You're normally not supposed to be able to get to the top of this tree without long shot, but with some very precise hookshotting position, you can get on this very tiny ledge here and then just barely hookshot your way up. Now I need to get this gold Skulltula here. So I already have a gold Skulltula, or 100 gold Skulltulas. This gold Skulltula is not necessarily for the purpose of adding to my count, but to do a glitch. I'm going to kill this gold Skulltula and side hop to it. Okay, so now I'm going to press the Ocarina button. And so what that did is it delayed this, getting the Skulltula token until I hit the ground. But by the time I hit the ground, the Skulltula was so far away that it was unloaded. And so now the game recognizes, as soon as the Skulltula token is loaded again, as soon as the camera goes in range of the Skulltula token, I'll instantly collect the Skulltula token. So now I shot the sun, so the fire arrows are there. Now, I need a way to get over to fire arrows. I don't have long shot, I don't have the water raised. So I'm going to do something else to get over there. I'm going to hookshot this tree. And the Skulltula token is going to interrupt my hookshot. And when it interrupts my hookshot, I go flying upwards. And I can use this gigantic jump to go over and get fire arrows. So now I gotta go in Water Temple. So the first thing I need to do in Water Temple is go down to the bottom and meet Rudo. So normally you're just supposed to sync with Iron Boots. Well, that technically is the fastest way. What I want to do here is use Furor's Wind and fall through the water like this. So, well, that's technically slower than using Iron Boots. The fact that it sets a Furor's Wind warp point for later on saves quite a bit of time. And so it ends up being the fastest way to get down here to get to Rudo. So if you start using Furor's Wind and you take damage, it'll move you a tiny bit. And then if you get knocked off a ledge, you can't swim while in that cutscene animation, so you just fall all the way down to the bottom of the water. So how are we doing on the glitch exhibition? So here I'm going to do a side hop to get to this ledge. You're normally not supposed to get to this ledge until you have the water at mid-height. But with hover boots you can, well actually even without hover boots you can still get there early, but with hover boots it becomes super easy. Okay, I'm surprised that hit. So I can get that key early, and I'm also going to get a key in here. And so now I can Furor's Wind back to the beginning of Water Temple. Really quick way to get back to the beginning of the dungeon. And now I want to head over to fight Dark Link and get the long shot, which is all I really need to do in Water Temple. So right here I'm going to hit the wall with a hammer, and it's going to boost me back really quickly, and I'm going to equip hover boots to retain that speed. And because with hover boots I'm walking in the air, I'm able to open a door in midair. And so I can open that door without having the water raise to the highest level. So a lot of people always hate the Dark Link fight. It's actually not too hard if you know what you're doing. So you normally can't throw Deconuts directly at Dark Link because he'll dodge them. But if you throw them off to the side, the area of effect will still hit him, but he can't dodge it. So you can just do that and very quickly beat him up. Especially with the Goron Sword jump slashes, which are ridiculously powerful. And here's the long shot. So now I'm done with Water Temple and I can get out of here. So how much money have we raised for the glitch exhibition so far?
We're about 20% in.
Alright. Try more, guys. Try multiplying that by 5.
You know, I agree. Like, we do need more donations, and we also have another donation from Pidgey with $20. John Madden, 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 football.
If you're watching football, you're watching the wrong event right now.
So now I'm going to head over to Lon Lon Ranch and finally get Epona. The reason I couldn't get Epona earlier is because that glitch I did for the Froze Win shenanigans only works when you have not gotten Epona yet because it requires that minigame. So now I can actually get Epona. So I'm not going to do the normal way and do the race. I'm actually just going to hover over this wall. And now I have Epona. And so normally the only way you're ever supposed to normally get over that wall is after the race where you win Epona. It's supposed to be one of your exit options. And so the game just assumes if you hop over the wall, then you must have just gotten Epona. So you just immediately get Epona. Now I'm going to head off to Gerudo Fortress and collect some stuff over there. So I take a bit of an odd route through Gerudo Fortress. The first thing I want to do after killing this guard to make sure I don't get caught is hookshot up to the jail. And then from the jail, you can actually clip up to the top of here by doing a precise hookshot on that little awning thing, and it clips you up to the top. And then from here, I can hookshot over to this heart piece chest and grab this heart piece. And now I'm going to be saving the carpenters in a kind of weird order. Starting from the one closest to this. So, interesting thing to note about the Gerudo guards. At nighttime, their vision is worse, and so it's a lot easier to bypass them. And in most speedruns, you actually do come here at night, which is convenient, but this is one of the few runs you don't want to come here at night, which makes it a little bit scarier. In addition to just the fact that you can get caught easier, getting caught is actually really bad because if you get caught, then Epona goes back to Lon Lon Ranch. And what makes it even worse is I don't have Epona song right now, so if I wanted to get Epona back, I'd have to go all the way back to Lon Lon Ranch, get Epona, and come back. So I really, really don't want to get caught. I mean, it's still very rare to get caught, but just a thing that can happen if something goes wrong. But normally, like when you're here at night, you basically never have to worry about getting caught. During the day, it's a little bit more of a real threat.
Yeah, I never want to get caught in that at all. But I do have some donations I want to read for you guys. We have the Cycle Ripper with $5. This run has no source requirements. The glitch showcase after, however, those get the donations in for the kiddos. Yeti with 007 with $20. Here's $20 and we'll give another $50 if ZFG wears his favorite color tunic, Blue Zora. And we also have please email me with $10. Go Link!
Alright, so we just got word from the head organizer. We are changing the donation goal for the glitches to be $2,000 because we all really want to see it. We're very close, so get your donations in so we can see those glitches.
So for all these guard fights, I'm getting ISG at the beginning of the fight, because ISG just destroys them really quickly. And using a Deca Nut at the beginning of the fight also is really good, so I can instantly get at least a single hit in. Sometimes you can stun lock them, and when you can stun lock them, then you get an incredibly quick fight. Most of the ones so far have been decent fights, but not necessarily great. So these carpenters won't always talk to you immediately. They generally take like a few seconds to be able to talk to them, depending on how fast you do the fight. So if you do the fight really fast, you're not saving that much time because they might just not talk to you yet. And so now I finally get the Gerudo card. Fun fact, the Gerudo card actually doesn't make you not get caught by the guards. It's actually the dialogue with the Gerudo guard. Oh, there's one thing I want to show off. So this Gerudo card has red tunic, right? Wait, what? Wait, what? Why didn't it work? Okay. The Easter egg there is supposed to be that the color of her tunic will be the color of the bomb. I don't know why it didn't work there. That's weird. Alright, I'm a fraud.
I've never seen
Ignore
that
that.
work before.
Yeah, ignore
That's really
that.
strange.
It usually works.
Nuke the bots. So I want to make a quick pit stop in Gerudo Training Grounds. This is supposed to be a really long and difficult mini dungeon to get the ice arrows, but you can cheese it by doing a weird shot, and then you just go directly to the center room, and then I get the ice arrow chest. And then I can do another weird shot to get back out.
So ZFG, when are you wearing your favorite tunic for the kids?
Dude. Define wearing the tunic. Like, how long does it have to be? Can it be a frame? I might wear it for a frame.
$50, come on.
But it's a work tunic.
I know.
I would be more surprised if somebody could produce a blue tunic before the end of this run.
Alright, so now I gotta do the archery. The cool strat where you just spam arrows at one single target. And you can win pretty easily and quickly. So this is for a heart piece and the biggest quiver upgrade.
All right, we have a few donations I want to read. We have Anonymous with $10. Awesome Glitch Expedition. ZFG, thanks. We have Darren with $30. We have Marchkin with $5. Frankers. And we have Jesus Christ with $20. Here's $20 for the Glitch Extra, for the kids. Yeah, that's right. Anonymous with $20. Glitch, please. Another Anonymous with another donation with $10. Ravenous with $5. Runner guy, 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 Wednesday night bingos, and happy birthday, ZFG, King of Bass Gods. And another donation from Anonymous, $10, ZFG, please. Anonymous, $1. Hey guys, long-time watcher, first-time donator. Gives me great joy to donate to a great cause. Greetings from Germany, PS.
So I just did a glitch there where I went out of bounds and I did a mega flip, a really long mega flip that had this weird anti-gravity glitch that prevented me from falling very early. And so it completely skipped the load trigger for the bottom half of Brutal Fortress. And that also prevented the gate that normally blocks you from going to the Haunted Wasteland from loading. So I could just walk directly into the Haunted Wasteland really quickly. Oh my god. So the quick way to do the Wasteland is entirely with a Hess, going backwards really fast. Kind of hard to see where you're going. It saves a huge amount of time if you can get it, but it's pretty difficult. Especially on the... Okay. Oh my god, dude.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, this is really difficult on GameCube and VC because the dead zone is a lot larger than on N64, and it has nothing to do with the controller. It's all has to do with the software or the game itself.
Yeah, the control stick is not mapped properly on the GameCube and VC versions, which makes all ESS tricks significantly harder than on N64.
Hey, I got a rap for you. Coming from Franker Z with $5. His name is ZFG, and it looks so great. He's already got a record on his state. Slate speed runs live, yeah, that's his hood. Getting that run just like he should. RNG, please be nice to me. Please don't ruin this run for me. I need the world record, not a PB.
All right, so if you can know where to go in the Wasteland without the Lens of Truth, which is normally the way you're supposed to use it, just by recognizing like where to go, by patterns on the ground and everything. So the few things I need to get here in Desert Colossus. First thing I want to do is go to the Fairy Fountain and get Neru's Love. The levers in this area are also really annoying for movement. It's really easy to target them when you're trying to do a backwalk or a Hess, and it just ruins everything.
Two of the worst enemies are in that area.
Yeah.
Levers and Gways.
Definitely the two worst enemies in the game.
Yeah. So here is the last RBA of the run. First thing I'm going to do is RBA Poe. Again, Poe modifies my bomb chew count, so this will give me a lot of Poes back, or a lot of bomb chews.
Hey, I'm really sad that you said this run is about to end, but I'm pretty happy I got this donation from April Kesh with $2 for the kids. Go ZFG.
Okay.
That was close.
So now I just got 29 bomb chews, and now I'm going to dump my bugs with Neru's Love on C right. And Neru's Love modifies my second bottle slot, which means I now have all 4 bottles. Now that will be the end for RBA, but I still want to keep a bottle on my B button for Bottle Adventure, which I still will do one more time. So now it's time for Spirit Temple. And now I'm done with Spirit Temple. that is the entirety of what you will see of inside Spirit Temple for the entire run. All I need to do is enter and exit to activate the Requiem cutscene. I don't need to beat the dungeon because I RBA'd the Spirit Medallion earlier, and the Mirror Shield is outside the dungeon. And I obviously don't need any of the gold skull tellers inside because I already got 100. So now I still need to get the Mirror Shield. As I said, it is outside Spirit Temple, but it's near the top of the Spirit Temple. So to get up to Spirit Temple, I'm going to have to do a hover up there. So I need to get ISG here and start a hover right here. I'm going to have to do a bunch of Bombchu hovers upwards. Come on. I have to wait for this guy, or else he's gonna destroy me.
The one time you don't wait for him is the time that he gets you.
Yeah. So now I'm on this seam, and I can backflip up here, walk up this very tight seam, and then hookshot up to the Silver Gauntlets chest. Now I don't need the Silver Gauntlets because I'll be getting the Gold Gauntlets later on. You only need the highest upgrade. But it's good to hookshot there. Now I'm going to super slide, and I'm going to cross the gap here over to the other hand, and this is where the Mirror Shield chest is. Now there's one last thing I want to get here. It's a heart piece. I'm going to do a super slide here. And I'll land on a rock with a heart piece on it. Alright. And now I'm done with this section. So, now I need to go back to Child. Still a few things left I want to get as Child. And then once that Child section is over, the final adult section is really quick. And there's not much left after that. So right now I'm really low on bombs. And I still need a lot of bombs for the rest of the run. So I'm just going to have to buy some from the shop in Castletown. It's nighttime, so you're normally not supposed to get in there. But you can break in at night by jumping over the door. And my rupee count works out perfectly so I can buy 3 sets of bombs. The rupee route for this run is actually pretty precise. Most runs are honestly not that tight on rupees. But there's a lot of stuff I need to buy in this run. And the rupee route is pretty precisely made so that everything works out well. I'm actually 3 rupees short of what I need to be, but 3 rupees is very easy to make up. So I need to talk to Melon here, and she'll give me an egg to wake up Talon near the castle. This is something you're supposed to do way at the beginning of the game, but it's delayed all the way until now. I still need to wake up Talon. I'm not going to meet Zelda. I'm skipping meeting Zelda completely. But I do need to wake Talon because you need to wake him up to learn the bonus song.
All right, so in the meantime, I'll be reading these donations. Not the Blob with $10. We have two anonymous donations, with one of them being $10 for the glitches. Another one, $50. Glitch, please. And anonymous with $11. Now, this looks like a job for me. To get everyone to donate, please. We don't need any controversy because this event would feel so empty without a glitch expedition from ZFG. Ravenous with another $2. By the way, ZFG, when's Metroid Prime?
Eventually.
Please.
After Night Sky.
Exactly. So Din's Fire gets a total of 0 uses in this run. Not quite too useful. But gotta get it just because it's required. So there's this very precise seam where these two walls meet that you can walk on and get up. Oh my God, really? You can walk on and get to the top of this hill, and this allows for a very fast way to get to Talon, so you can wake him up instead of going all the way around like normal. Alright, coming up is a part of the run that I enjoy very much, and I'm sure you all will too.
Alright, we have two donations. Tinfoil Hat, $209 with $10. Seeing the fast finger flute skills and being St. Jude made me donate. St. Jude is an awesome charity. They do amazing work. Donate, y'all! And we have a donation from Dampy with $3. ZFG, I'm very angry with you. You haven't come to see me in a long time. I've had first try heart piece ready for you. But no, you just glitch your way everywhere. Next time you do normal 100%, expect 15. Try. See you then.
Alright. Okay, so, if you guys remember the glitch I did for Drooping Skulltulas earlier on in the run, I'm going to do a similar thing here for heart pieces. So, in this area of Lost Woods, there's Skull Kid. So, when you play Saria song for Skull Kid, he's going to give you a heart piece. So, I'm going to dupe Skull Kid a lot. And naturally, thought process goes, you know, if one Skull Kid gives you one heart piece, a lot of Skull Kids should give you a lot of heart pieces. So, pretty obvious what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to do a mega flip here to get out of bounds. And then load Skull Kid a bunch. All right, so now I just loaded a bunch of Skull Kids. And so I now need to play Saria's song for them. And do not panic. There is nothing wrong with the stream. The game screen is actually frozen. Everything is fine. So there are so many Skull Kids right now that the game cannot handle showing them all. So it freezes the screen but continues to run normally. And now I said, you get 1 heart piece from Skull Kid for playing Saria's song. I need 33 heart pieces. So I am now going to play 33 Saria's songs while the screen is frozen. And that is 4. So, whoops. 5. So I hope you like Saria's song. 6. 7. 8. Count along with me, chat. 9. 10. 11.
Wow, that was so fun. Let's do that 2 more times.
12.
Does that mean 22 more times?
Yeah, let's
all 11 2 more times.
yeah, let's do that more, and let's also get some more donations, such as
13.
we also have a donation from Pit Icarus with $5. Hey Dad, good luck on the end of this run. Myself and the rest of the kids are rooting for you. We have Franker Z with $1. ZFG, put the dang blue tunic on for the kids.
15.
15.
16.
It's also very important that I count exactly correct, because if I play the same number as there are Skull Kids, 17,
17.
I will only get 1 heart piece, which is disastrous. 18.
18. 19.
20.
Hope you guys are enjoying this very thrilling gameplay.
21.
22.
22.
23.
23.
So, failing Sorry Song is actually kind of bad, because I need to make sure that, oh no. 24.
24.
Okay. Again, I can't play the same number of Sorry Songs as Skull Kids. And failing
25.
one counts towards taking out a Skull Kid. And so...
It's 25 right now.
Oh no.
26.
Okay, so I can't afford to fail very many times. Oh, 26?
Yeah.
Yep.
27.
Yep. How many Skull Kids did you do?
39.
Okay. And you failed 5 times, I believe.
27? Is that 27 or 28?
That's 28.
28.
Okay. 29?
29.
Yep.
Okay. 30. Almost there, guys.
Thirty-two.
32.
One more.
All right, we did it.
All right, we're done playing Sorry Song. Now I need to talk to all 33 of them while the screen is still frozen. So the screen, I promise the screen will unfreeze at some point. Once I move the camera so it's not pointed on Skull Kid, then the screen will unfreeze. Unfortunately, I can't do that until I've gotten all my hearts.
All right, we got a donation from Lysoza with $1. It's faster and more efficient not to hang up pictures around your house. Hanging up a picture wastes a frame. Oh, and I sneezed on the beat, and the beat got sicker. Whoops. And we also have a donation from the Rio ZFG with $20. So here, I donated $20 for St. Jude just because this comment is exactly 203 characters long. It activates that weird glitch in the donation system, which instantly unlocks the glitch expedition incentive.
So even though the screen is frozen and I'm doing everything blind, all this stuff is actually pretty simple. Like the first part is just playing Sorry Song, very easy. This part is mashing A, very easy. After this, I do have to get back on the stump, which is slightly difficult. But if I fail it, I could unfreeze the camera and then redo it and just freeze the camera again once I get back on the stump. So I am doing this blind, but it's not hard. And also, a lot of people wonder, like, how do people find this? It seems so weird. It's really fairly simple. Like, it's just you do area duping. You find out about area duping, and you figure out you can load a bunch of Skull Kids at once. And one Skull Kid gives you one heart piece, so a lot of Skull Kids will give you a lot of heart pieces. And it just happens to be that once you load a massive amount, the game starts to have difficulties and freezes, but still runs fine. Should almost be done talking to them. All right. Oh no. Okay. All right, here we go. We're getting the heart pieces. This will be 33 in a row. Exciting, isn't it? I think we're almost there.
You guys are the best.
Alright, that's it. That's all the heart pieces. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Alright. And we're done. So, you may have noticed I do not have 20 hearts. I have 18. That is on purpose. I did not miscount. So, you may have noticed throughout the entire run I've been getting some heart pieces, but not all. So the reason for this is each heart piece, as you can guess, like that whole process took quite a while. So each heart piece on average is roughly 25 seconds to dupe. So if you can get a heart piece in under 25 seconds, then it's faster to get that heart piece than it is to dupe another heart piece. And so that's why I've been getting quite a few heart pieces throughout the run, and that's also why I got 18 1/4 hearts here, because there's 3 more heart pieces I want to get and 1 more heart container. Because they're all faster than duping extras. So now I gotta clean up Zora's River. 3 heart pieces are here. And I also need to buy magic beans. You're just required to have magic beans in your inventory for the definition. I don't actually do anything with the magic bean. So these are just the 3 very quick heart pieces to get. 1 heart piece on the ledge at the upper Zora's River. This Song of Storms frog heart piece. And the one on this ledge up here. There's 2 heart pieces you can get from the frogs. One is for just playing Song of Storms, which is really quick. And one for playing all of the all of the Grey Note songs. And then playing the frog's made-up song. So a Hess is a lot faster than the boomerang. So just for fun, I like to throw the boomerang there because you outrun it by so much. And finally, here's the cutscene where I get the Ocarina of Time near the end of the run.
You can finally done your Child Dungeons run.
Finally. So slow, man. So how's the money looking on the Glitch Expedition?
We are currently around $760 off, or sorry, $660 off.
All right, get those last minute donations in, guys. And finally getting the Ocarina of Time. So even though I already have the Song of Time, I still have to watch the cutscene of learning the Song of Time. Unfortunately, there's no way to skip it. So the very last thing I need as Child is Epona's song. very last song I need in general. So just gotta head over to Long On Range real quickly and go learn it.
Hey, I have a few donations I want to read. All right, we got the blue tunic with $1. ZFG, put on the goddamn blue tunic. And we have an anonymous with a donation of $50. And we have a donation from Dusty, $100. Get the rest of the way, got nerds. Plus the donation reader's voice is sexy like Barry White. Oh wow, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we have a donation from Alexis Juarez with $5. I'll donate $100 if you put on blue tunic, Franker Z. Anonymous with $2. PPMD, Craigasm.
All right, so I'm finally done with the child section. I can finally go back to adult. Now remember, I still have a bottle on my B button as adult, which means, again, it's going to look at my child seat right item and put whatever item or whatever item value that item points to on my B button. Ho, again, points to my bomb tree count. Bomb tree count is 13. 13 is Foro's Wind. And so once again, I will have Foro's Wind on my B button one last time. So the run is almost over. There's only a handful of items left I need to get. I need to get the double defense heart upgrade, gold gauntlets, and the final heart. So to get the double defense, normally you would have to go inside Ganon's castle, get the gold gauntlets, come back out, and then use the gold gauntlets to move this giant stone in the way of the fountain back here. But this might be bad. Okay, made it. So by going really fast there with a Hess, you can clip through the rock and go straight into the fairy fountain. And this will get me the last magic fairy upgrade. Here's your stupid blue tunic. Alright, that's it. Enjoy. Now pay up.
That looked worse than I remember it.
Exactly. Wait, did I set Foro's Wind in Temple of Time? I didn't, did I?
No, you didn't.
I'm gonna set Foro's Wind right here. Can't believe I forgot. I'm not gonna do the backup that I did in that one run. Because I actually want to show the best ending. Alright, so the last item I need to get is in here. It's the gold gauntlets. There's two ways to get through this room. You can use fire on the torch, or you can use the long shot to get to the torch, and then a long shot to the light. The fire is a little bit faster, saves some time. So here's the very last item. So the reason I wanted to set Foro's Wind outside of Ganon's castle, and I just forgot, is it's the fastest way to get out of Ganon's castle. Because you can't play warp songs in Ganon's castle. So I meant to set it in Temple of Time for the very last trick in the run. I'm just going to have to warp back there now. Which I think it's going to be faster to just run back there, actually. So I need to set Foro's Wind specifically from the entrance of the Temple of Time, entering from here, not like coming from the Master Sword or coming from here. It needs to be this specific entrance. And now I just need to go beat the final boss and get my final heart. Because I've got all my items and all my upgrades. And all my gold skull toys, and just one heart missing.
All right, guys, I'm going to read a few donations. We have a donation from Pi, $20. We have a donation from Alexis Torres with $100. See, that wasn't bad. Love you. And we also have a donation from Anonymous with $2. Blue Tunic. And we have a donation from Yeti with $100. Here it is, the $50 I promised times 2, because I know how much that Blue Tunic meant to you. Save the children.
All right. Only for the children. Under no other circumstance will I ever do that. Alright, so I need to get to the boss room here. Normally it's supposed to push a block onto the switch here to hold it down. But if you use Navitext right as you land on the switch, you can move during the cutscene of the door opening. And so you can actually move to it before the door closes back up. And
Nice.
so that floor, you can hammer it. Obviously I just did, but it's actually very precise. You can only hammer it on the exact center. It's really weird. I'm not sure why it works like that. And so here we are at the final boss battle, King Dodongo. And the final boss is dead.
Man, you destroyed that boss. I couldn't believe it. And I can't believe we're getting more donations. We got a donation from Blast, $20. Yo, let's get these donations in the Glitch Expedition. Blue Tunic hype. We have a donation from Malak, 577, $100. Let's reach that glitch expedition. Anonymous with $100. G.I. Joey Joe, $5. PPMD Craigasm.
All right, so here is the very end of the run. I'm going to do one final wrong warp. I didn't get bugs. Okay, never mind. So I better not fail this. Okay.
Ooh.
I'm going to warp back to Temple of Time as soon as this cutscene starts. And time.
Nice.
So, I wrong warped directly into the credits. This is the portion of the credits near the very end where Link is back in the Temple of Time, except it looks really glitchy because the front room of the Temple of Time is loaded when it's supposed to be the back room of the Temple of Time. So you see these weird walls that aren't really supposed to be there. The Master Sword pedestal is like half there. It only shows from the front, so you don't see it right there. And you're also supposed to be child. The game's supposed to set you to child during the scene, but because I wrong warped directly into the scene, it didn't do that. And it also is supposed to show the presented by Nintendo thing here, which doesn't appear. So this is like a really glitchy version of the credits. It's really cool. And then the final scene is also pretty great.
Would you like to know your final time?
Yes.
3:22:43.
All right.
All right, we are really close to this glitch exhibition.
Okay, so here's the final scene. This is where Link is supposed to meet Zelda after going back in time, except Link didn't actually go back in time, and so we have adult Link meeting child Zelda as the true ending. And that's the end of the game.
All right, I'm going to give this glitch exhibition donation incentive just a little bit more time. We're so close. We're at the donation tracker says 1781. There's actually a $100 donation not counted, so we're at 1881. So we are $119 off of this glitch exhibition.
All right, hurry up, guys.
I'm going to give you just a little bit of time if ZFG wants to say anything about this run or category in particular.
Yeah, so this category is pretty new. It was only... So I had the idea for this run about a year and a half ago. Kind of messed around with it a little bit, but it was not really taken as a serious category because it skipped one item. That obviously, if you skip an item, you can't like have it as a legitimate category because it kind of ruined the entire route if you were to get that. So it was kind of like this side thing, and then we finally figured out a solution to it. It was the Decanut upgrade. The solution was the Massive Truth on B, which I used for that Decanut upgrade. And so after that, I wanted to take this category more seriously. We finally made this a real category. It's on the leaderboards for ZeldaSpeedruns.com and Speedrun.com now. I am still the only person running it, so yeah, but it'll probably, hopefully, get some more runners soon. I'm really looking forward to more people running this. It's a really cool and new category. A lot of people think that Ocarina of Time is kind of weird because it has like this huge amount of categories that most games don't have. Most people like to have only a small amount of categories in a certain game, and Ocarina of Time kind of breaks this rule by having a lot of different weird categories. And having two different 100% categories seems really weird. But in the context of Ocarina of Time, I think it makes a lot of sense because the way the game is so broken, you can have these two completely separate definitions of what counts as 100%, and they both kind of make sense. And so it makes it really interesting to have the dynamic of both of these categories together. They're like not even similar at all. They're completely different, and so they show off an incredible amount of the game, and just show off like how incredibly destroyed the game is.